It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and we don't have a flashy intro.
We are at war. We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing.
Hey, Cinemaniacs. Welcome back to Post Credits, the fastest growing car-based movie review show on the internet. Tonight, we watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Shazam! Fury of the generic superheroes. Shazam 2! Fury of the Gods is about the Daughters of Atlas coming for the staff of Atlas. I think that's what it is, the staff of Atlas. Mm-hmm. They're coming to get their staff that was broken in the last movie.
Gee whiz, mister. Sorry I took your cane. You want it back?
The Shazam team, because it's a team now, have to stop them. I wanted to love this movie.
Yeah, I didn't even see a trailer for it. Mm-hmm. I was just like, yeah, I'm down to...
Going blind.
Yeah, down to check out Shazam. And
yep.
For the most part, it was good. It's uneven.
Very uneven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, the setup is long. It has a nice hook at the beginning, like a really nice hook where basically the Daughters of Atlas show up at the museum and they get their staff, and there's a really cool scene where basically you're shown all of their powers. It's a really cool scene, a little bit thrilling. It's kind of got that dark, almost horror-ish vibe from David F. Sandberg. Mm-hmm. And so it was a good intro. It was a really slow until the midpoint, though.
Yeah, it's that thing that we've been seeing more and more of is front-loading.
Yeah.
So you have a strong opening, which sets the tone for the movie. We establish the bad guys, and then we meet the Shazam family. Then they go off and have a big adventure saving people from a collapsing bridge.
Yep.
Then there's some jokes.
Billy's trying to keep the family together. Like, he's so obsessed with it because it's there's like a couple of months left until his birthday, till he turns 18, and he knows he's going to leave. He might be forced out of the house.
Yeah,
so he's holding on.
He's dealing with his abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Poorly.
Yeah, very poorly. Like, he's overcompensating, and he is forcing everyone to do these things they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And it was good. Like, I did like that aspect. They even show him with a psychiatrist.
I'm an idiot. I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing?
You understand I'm a pediatrician, right?
That's like the kind of the heart of the film, but they kind of forget about the heart of the film until after the midpoint.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's his abandonment issues, his feeling that he's undeserving.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess it is part and parcel. The rest of Act 1 and Act 2 are kind of slow. Like,
you
know, as Blake Snyder calls it, fun and games. I call it the upside down world.
It wasn't very fun.
But it was kind of... It was mostly... Because most of the time was spent setting up Max?
You talking about the girl that befriends...
Well, who's the brother friend?
Max, I guess. Max.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I never heard... This is going to be an ongoing thing. I don't remember character names. The young gentleman with the handicap meets a girl, and Julian called it. He's like, she's one of the sisters, because we only saw 2 sisters.
Yeah, no, they revealed that there's a third one, and I didn't even know that she was a sister. I just thought she's with them. Because she was kind of uninterested in him until... they mention that he's friends with superheroes, which she's looking for champions. So all of a sudden she's like really into him and she's flirtatious with him, and it just seemed to me, I was like, she's way too interested in him now, and it's definitely because she's looking
and this thing I didn't catch that at first, but then once you plant the seed, I'm like,
you started looking at it and you're like, oh yeah. The villains were okay. Lucy Lui is one of them. Helen Mirren and Rachel Zegler. That's she's Anna. I thought the villains were okay. I think they were kind of meh though. Like,
I mean, look, I their reasoning. I understand their reasoning.
oh yeah, for sure.
Lucy Liu was obviously the zealot
Yes.
of the group because
Yes.
there's that whole thing. It's like, you have the powers of such and such. It's like, okay, but
Humans stole the staff, and humans are hateful and warring, and
look, it's Worf in Next Generation. He's dishonored because his father's dishonored, and the son, the sins of the father are not the sins of the son, as it were.
it's also kind of like in Wonder Woman how they look at humans. Like they're Ares looks at humans differently. Ares is kind of like Lucy Liu's character in this. It was the midpoint was cool. It kind of just dawdles along, and then the midpoint happens, and the midpoint surprised me because it was a cool scene, but it didn't feel like a midpoint.
Her stealing the golden apple felt more like it, but
It did.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
But it was at the point where we're raising the stakes because her plan was to get caught.
But what I like about her is she wasn't ever intending on harming humans.
Their plot goal was to get the pieces they needed, take back the power, and rebuild their realm.
Their realm, yeah.
Lucy Liu, who was like, fuck that, we're going to take the humans' realm.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you had mentioned to me, like, did they just live in some hellscape? Like, what are all these... they're all monsters, and they're, like, demons and monsters and stuff. And they actually, like, literally, a minute later explain... Because she's hateful, and that hateful heart of hers, plus the new realm, it creates these creatures.
Yeah, she had corrupted it and
it was
and
good.
Twisted it, and so there's a lot of good things. It was a general unevenness because it's normally I am fairly hard on things like this, but not everyone can be a Marvel. You're balancing 75 characters, and balancing all these characters is a difficult task, and they failed on a number of fronts, like the whole when all the kids are leaving the house at the beginning, they all say goodbye, Mom, and Billy's like, goodbye, Rachel. That's so we get about 5 seconds of establishing that he hasn't made the connection with his foster
and then they
mother.
don't really revisit that. Like, I thought they were gonna do a few more nods to that. Like, I thought there was gonna be more scenes. Okay, so one of the big things, I'm sorry I'm sidestepping. In the first movie, he's introduced to this family, and there's a lot of, like, family dinners, and there's a lot of... And I think that part of this was missing. They just spent all their time in their adult superhuman forms in their cave.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie was missing more of an emotional core. They needed to spend more time with family. I think that's why it's like I wanted to love this. I still enjoyed the time, and I was still chuckling and stuff. But it didn't have that emotional core that the first one had, and so
front load the action. And you have kind of a dull everything up till the middle, and then but even with the fast pacing in the second half, it was still somehow slow.
So I had a thought about that, because I was like, okay, after the midpoint and after things start ramping up and you're heading into the All Is Lost, there's a long period of time where big things are happening, but yet it was still kind of boring. Like, there's lots of shots of the city and people running away. I think there was too many shots of that, though.
I had the same thought. The roots are going. Like, okay, this feels like Peter Jackson's King Kong. When they're stuck on Skull Island, and it's just thing after thing after thing after thing.
It's bombarding you. It's like the Rise of Skywalker, too, where they just like, big thing, big thing, big thing, big thing. You could have just done 1 or 2 shots and then show the city from like an extreme wide, like, drone shot. Just do that. That would have been fine. But then even after that, even after the roots settle in, they show like lots of shots, like long shots of like the monsters spawning. And it was just like, okay, you can get closer to the All Is Lost. You can get closer to the climax. You know.
I do say this. I do like that the sisters are, once again, like we talked about this. The dichotomy between characters and characteristic elements,
Very
and
good,
and there's so you got the sisters who aren't working together, and the Shazam family who are working together.
Yeah, exactly. They were always kind of working together. They had good communication, mainly because Billy was working so hard in planning with them.
The other element too is that because he talks about his imposter syndrome, does he deserve it? Ultimately, like I said, there's thematic elements and whatnot, but it does come down to you don't have to have superpowers to be a hero.
Yeah,
because at the end, the only one who still has his powers is Billy / Shazam.
Yeah.
But the other ones all fulfilled necessary roles in their puny human forms.
Yeah, okay, so a few examples of this. They were all on the unicorns, and they were all, diverting the monsters and getting the monsters to chase them, which is very important. The disabled kid. Him and the wizard were in the maze realm, and they were trying to get to the apple, and there was a lot of they were really hammering in, just because you're human doesn't make you useless. You are useful, you are powerful in your own right. And it was good. And one thing I liked was they were they said the bigger kid isn't good at dodgeball, but then they show him being good at something else.
Yeah,
and so they're really showing the different levels of they all have different things they're good at, and
you need all those elements together for them to be strong, whether it's as superheroes or just regular folks. So there's good messaging in the movie. It's solid, and Billy has his arc complete where he's like, okay, this is the family I have now. They're not going to abandon me, and now in order to protect them, I got to sacrifice myself. This is when we start running into trouble, though.
Yep.
Because, spoilers, he was dead for about 15 seconds.
The end of Batman v Superman did it well, in that Superman dies, and they end the movie with Superman dead. Obviously, we knew he was going to come back in some way, but even if you look at Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, he doesn't come back until 3 hours into it.
Yeah.
So
and look, it was nice seeing Wonder Woman. I adore Wonder Woman. I adore Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I do hope that with the new DC, it's not the end of her, but we'll see.
Yeah. I thought they were going to end it with him being dead. I knew that maybe he'll come back, but because they are leading into the big reboot with the Flash. That's going to be the big reboot.
I feel like because even though Shazam is an adult, Billy's a kid, we couldn't end it that way.
Yeah,
but like I said, it was very.
But they can
very snappy.
They should have just gone for it. He's barely a kid. In a month, he was going to be an adult. But they should have ended it. They should have doubled down on that. It would have been interesting going into. Maybe in some cataclysm they needed Shazam in some way, and they found a way to bring him back. Because superhero movies, no one's really dead. I don't know. I there was a lot of enjoyment, but I think I left the theater underwhelmed with this. Underwhelmed because the first one was so strong.
Yeah.
The first one was a tight film. It was well written. It had good emotional core.
DC when Shazam came out, they didn't care, but they didn't have any expectations for it. So Sandberg was allowed to do what he did.
Yeah.
Which was whatever he wanted to do, and he ended up with this this fun, heartfelt family superhero movie.
Yep.
And I feel like because it did so well, the expectations were ramped up, and
they made it bigger in this. It was bigger. It didn't need to be.
Yeah.
I liked that the first one was pretty contained. It was Mark Strong who was really good in it. Mark Strong plays this villain, and it didn't feel like the end of the world. This felt like the end of the world, and it kind of. I was in my head. I didn't say this to you, but I was like, "Please don't end with a giant sky beam," which they kind of don't. But they kind of there's a big dome.
No,
around
we had an under the dome beam.
Yeah, exactly.
Elements that we've seen before.
Yeah.
The opening with the bridge scene was Quicksilver.
Yep.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Under the dome.
Yeah. again, like I enjoyed it. I mean, I was chuckling throughout it. I was having fun with it, but
I thought the humor was relatively well balanced.
it was. I just felt that the identity that they had established in the first one wasn't there, and I think if they had more family scenes, I think it would have been more impactful.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that.
Because the thing about Shazam is it's fairly, until Wonder Woman at the end of this, he was fairly separated from the rest of the DC.
Yeah.
Like, he exists in the world, but basically, if the ticket sales aren't high enough for Shazam, they're probably not going to bring Shazam into the new DCEU. That's what James Gunn told Sandberg.
Right.
Basically said, your movie has to sell. If it doesn't sell, we're not bringing him in. Which is fair. I mean, they're trying to rebuild the DC.
Introducing the star of our show. His name is Shazam! Now let's get down to business.
Your world will not survive this.
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
You think I know how to fix this dude, but I really don't.
Really? Everyone can be worthy. Let's give it a chance. Now go fight for your family.
Yeah, it was good, but I'm underwhelmed. Maybe not I'm whelmed.
Yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable.
I don't think
and look, I mean, I understand following up something that was that successful and that well loved is it's a challenge in itself.
It was fine. It was enjoyable. I don't know if I'll watch it again. But like, I've watched the first one multiple times because I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I don't know that I'll watch this one again.
Right. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
It might be a one and done.
Yeah. Overall, thumbs middle of the road for me. You know.
Yeah. I'd say about the same. It was.
It's fine.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It's like Ant-Man. It was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be back with another movie